Yo guys, how's everyone doing? It's Devious Nitro here, or you if you want to Nitro, and today we're back for another What If. So today we'll actually be doing something different, as we're joined by a special guest. Special guest, if you please.
Hey guys, Sand Motion here on Nitro's channel, and today we're going to be doing a collaboration on What If Universe 6 won the Tournament of Destroyers. Without further ado, let's jump into it.
This scenario is going to be what if Universe 6 won against Universe 7 in a tournament between Beerus and Champa. Alright, so the main change that leads up to this is that here, Hit actually doesn't want to lose, and so because of this, he doesn't act like Monaka is all that strong and loses to him. He would actually take out Monaka. I imagine one-shotting him similar to how he did to Hit, and this means Universe 6 wins.
Of course, this results in Earth of Universe 7 being switched with Universe 6's. Although Beerus would be pissed there's nothing he can do since he lost, he would just go off with Whis in space or something. Goku and Vegeta would then have an arc where they most likely go to planet Sadala. This would help strengthen Kaba and Vegeta's whole master student thing. Even though Kale and Caulifla are not introduced yet, they will be soon enough. So since this arc is going to replace the future Trunks arc, the villain will be Frost. So after getting destroyed by Hit and Vegeta, Frost wants revenge. Since Frost creates problems and then takes them out, he will make one. Frost would attack planet Sadala because Vegeta is currently there, alongside a whole lot of other Saiyans he can kill.
This could cause Kaba, Vegeta and Goku to meet Kale and Caulifla sooner due to Frost's attack on the planet. Caulifla may not care for the planet, though if he performed damage on her turf, I could definitely see her retaliating. At first, it would just be small attacks from space and the big guns wouldn't come yet. But Frost's attacks would alert Caulifla, while Kaba, Goku and Vegeta would try and defend the planet. She would come outside and see this going on. The attacks would end as Frost would leave, knowing he needed to train and become stronger. Just like Frieza, he would take 4 months. In this time, the forces gather.
During these 4 months, Vegeta and Kaba would become more accustomed to being on planet Sadala. With Goku's instant transmission, I could see them easily spending long periods of time there without Chi-Chi or Bulma or any of them having to worry because Goku has instant transmission. As Goku had met Caulifla and Kale earlier due to Frost attacks, he'd have taken an interest in them earlier, and after convincing Caulifla by showing off Super Saiyan, he had convinced Caulifla and Kale to train with him, and had started training, or at least guiding them on the right path. Much like how he had shown them Super Saiyan 3 in the Tournament of Power in main canon to set them on to that route of trying to achieve it.
Though here, as this would occur earlier, of course this means that they would have far more time to train and hone their skills. They would definitely become more efficient in using their forms here, maybe even to the point where they would start to master their Super Saiyan forms. And yeah, after some time, I could definitely see them achieving Super Saiyan 1, 2, and Master Super Saiyan. For those of you who may have a problem with this, saying 4 months is too short, remember, these are the same people who achieved Super Saiyan 1 and 2 within very short time spans. So I don't think it would be that much of a stretch to even say that they would probably go on to achieve Super Saiyan 3.
While Goku is training Caulifla, Kale would get jealous and go rage mode like she did in the original series at the Tournament of Power. Kale would attack Goku, and after taking some hits, he would overpower her alongside Caulifla to try and calm her down. It would take some time for Kale to learn this form here, as she doesn't need to. In the Tournament of Power, it was either do it or get your universe erased. Here they have Goku and Vegeta to help. But with error and trial comes success, and eventually she would access her different Super Saiyan form the way she did in the original series. While Goku trains them though, Vegeta would be training Kaba. I feel as if this is where Goku and Vegeta's difference in teaching will come into play. Goku has always been one for mastering techniques and Super Saiyan forms or other transformations. Vegeta on the other hand doesn't really do that. I feel as if Vegeta may be much like the Tournament of Destroyers are. He would teach Kaba Super Saiyan and then Super Saiyan 2, but right after that he would probably tell Kaba to find his own way. Though that would be with the transformation. Techniques on the other hand, I feel like Vegeta would go into those far more with his expertise, such as the Big Bang Attack, Final Flash, and way more than just those two. Vegeta is more of a finisher guy, and so he would show this in his teachings of finishing attacks. Thanks to this, Kaba's fighting style would have subtle changes, with him still being nice and gentle, yet knowing how to read his opponents and when to finish them, though it would still be his choice whether or not he'd act on it or not.
Eventually though, after the separate masters have taught their students what they can, they would both come together and try teaching them together. Now on the path to Super Saiyan 3, Cabba and Caulifla would train hard, while Kale is trying to learn how to use the depths of her Super Saiyan form. But they don't have time for this, as Frost suddenly attacks. This time, he would try to eradicate the planet, while Goku and Vegeta, surprisingly, would stay on the sidelines, while letting their students take the heat. The three would destroy Frost's blast, before then destroying his entire ship, killing many of his soldiers. After the remaining soldiers had been defeated, Frost would decide to finally show his face. Alright, so although Frost would be extremely strong, he wouldn't learn Golden Form here. I think the best form for him would be similar to Cooler's non-canon 5th form. He would decide to use his 5th form, as fighting one of them in Super Saiyan 2 would be difficult enough. And soon, during this fight, he would prove that he was a force to be reckoned with, so much so that the three Saiyans would have to fight together.
This would be a good experience for them, as it would allow them to remember that although they have learned much, allowing them to make various efforts as individual fighters, they have performed their best fighting alongside one another, Kale and Caulifla especially. The three bruised up against Frost would come to their final stand as Frost would use his version of the Supernova. The three would fire their specific attacks, Gallic Gun, Crusher Cannon, and Kale would use a gigantic impact like Broly would.
Their beams would collide with Frost's, causing a massive beam struggle, with Frost seemingly on the losing side. Though this is where the perks of this new form of his would come into play. Powering up further, Frost would start to push their beams back. With the three Saiyans gradually losing ground, they would attempt to push back by putting all their energy into their attacks, eventually causing them to hit their current limits. Caulifla, especially, would become frustrated, saying she couldn't believe that these were her limits, and that she was truly disappointed. She would then try to push further, but to no avail. Kale, who would have already been angered by not being able to protect her planet, would hear this, and it would sadden her that someone she looked up to so much was talking down to herself like this. She would tell Caulifla to snap out of it, telling her that her usual self would never back down from a challenge, and that even despite hitting her limits, she would always find another way to win, no matter what. She would then smile before reminding her that their teacher was watching, knowing that this would cause a spark within her not to lose in front of their master. After hearing all of this, it would reinvigorate Caulifla, and she would thank Kale before they would both attempt to push even further, putting everything into their attacks.
Almost simultaneously, Caulifla would transform into a Super Saiyan 3 for the first time, and Kale into Super Saiyan 2. Frost would be engulfed by the beam's power output, now being disintegrated. Instantly, all three of them would be passed out and caught by their respective masters.
The five of them are held as heroes for Sadala, but will that be true for the upcoming tournament created by Senno? Find out next time on Saiyan Motion's channel for part 2.